taking off from Norman Island and headed over to Virgin Gorda on day 2 of our charter in the British Virgin Islands. And it's hurricane season and it is deserted. So I think we'll have the baths all to ourselves. We've been there once before and they're really worth seeing. On the way over, I noticed that the bilge pump was running continuously and checked it out, and the float had lifted up probably from a swell and it stayed up. So I just had to flop it back down and it reset and turned off.
Okay.
This is the bath. There's some really cool little caves in there and stuff. So we'll get over there and get in there. We decided to swim over to the baths, but you can take a dinghy over. There is a rope line that you can tie up to over there close to the shore, but we swam over and back. And so what are the baths? I mean, they're massive granite rocks and there's pools of water inside those that are almost kind of like mini caves. So if you're a kid or a kid at heart, it's really fun to kind of climb around in those pools around the rocks.
Check this out. I forgot about that. Oh my god.
Oh, I remember this.
Yeah, now I do. I'm not right there.
It's pretty cool. The last time we were here was over a decade ago, and it was also during hurricane season, but it was the early part of hurricane season in July. And in July, they still had quite a few people at the day moorings here at the baths and other places too. This time in September, no one was here. So there were 2 other boats in the bay when we first got there, and then there were other times when there was nobody else in the bay except us. So it was pretty cool to have the place basically all to ourselves. All right, we're taking off from the baths at Virgin Gorda, and we're going to head across to Beef Island and hopefully stay at Trellis Bay for the night. Should take us maybe an hour to get there. What a beautiful location. We've been here before and we kind of forgot how cool it was. The caves are just amazing. So we had a good time, like a couple of little kids. I think we wore ourselves out swimming to and from the sailboat. All right, we're headed to Trellis Bay. Hopefully we'll be able to stay there tonight. And we'll be there in about an hour. So definitely the seas have flattened out. Pretty big swells when we left Norman this morning.
Those are the dogs.
Those are the dogs? Those 2 right there?
Yeah.
This This is all the video I got of Trellis Bay. This is of us leaving and headed over to Monkey Point on Guana Island. And to be honest, Trellis Bay, compared to the other bays, is probably the least impressive. They do have some grocery stores there, and we got some groceries in the morning before we took off to head over to Monkey Point. We'd have loved to have just stayed at the baths overnight, but that's just a day mooring. You're not supposed to stay on those moorings overnight. I have no idea if they enforce it during hurricane season. Here we're picking up the mooring at Monkey Point, and it was really a short trip from Trellis Bay over to Monkey Point, just a few nautical miles. We were there less than an hour. And the islands are so close together in the British Virgin Islands, and there are so many islands that you can get to where you want to go usually in an hour, no more than 2 hours. And this whole trip, we never spent more than 2 hours at sea getting to our next destination. And that was true the last time that we went as well. And Monkey Point, when we came last time and chartered a boat, was one of our favorite places. There were so many fish here, it was crazy. Now, it was definitely a lot busier than what you see here when we came in July the last time. In September, when we went this time, nobody there. So we had times when we were the only people in the bay. We did see a lot of jellyfish, and this one was pretty big. I mean, this one was bigger than kind of like a dinner plate, but we did see a lot of small ones that were about the size of a quarter, so they were really hard to avoid. So I did get stung a couple of times while we're in BVI, but I never really had a bad reaction to them. Other than the jellyfish, we really didn't see that many fish. I mean, when we were here last time, the amount of fish here in the bay was crazy, but for some reason, fewer fish. I don't know if it was because we were there later in the summer or if it has something to do with climate change, but nowhere near the number of fish. Kind of the running theme of this BVI trip was that we had the place to ourselves. I mean, almost all the bays that we went to, we would either be the only boat or there might be one or two other boats. When we were at Monkey Point, I think there was one other boat at one point, and then the rest of the time we were in the bay all by ourselves. So if you go during high season, you have to get to these day mooring spots early in the day to be able to get a spot. So I think it's safe to say that we really enjoyed and took advantage of having the place all to ourselves. Here we're taking off from Monkey Point, and we head over to Cane Garden Bay. I think it was around 6 nautical miles. It took around an hour for us to get from Monkey Point to Cane Garden. And beautiful day. We had fantastic weather. And this is the Paradise Bar Restaurant. Dang.
That looks good.
Okay, this is dinner tonight, huh?
Oh, big time.
And are those fish tacos?
Yep.
And then my fish tacos. Those hills are so lush. Bacon, eggs, and some croissants.
Yeah.
And Vicky's boiled some water here. This boat, surprisingly, even though it has a generator, does not have a built-in inverter, which is kind of hard to imagine. But so we have nothing to plug this coffee pot into. So Vicky's been putting the grounds in this copper filter here, and then just pouring hot water that she boils on the stove, and it actually tastes really good. There's a name for that method. I don't know if it's immersion or something, but it's actually it comes out really good. I think it tastes better than drip coffee. These are the croissants from the French bakery at the marina. Really good. Some good.
No. Oh yeah, around this thing, yeah.
And what's Vicky doing? Let's check in. She's on my beanbag. I don't know how you can think that's your beanbag. That's clearly mine. She's trying to take it over. What are you reading, Miss Vicky? She finished her 1,000-page book already, so now she's
Finding materials to read.
She's like desperately finding. She's like reading labels of food and stuff. She has to be reading all the time, so it's just so lush. Where were the turtles?
Between that other catamaran
Uh-huh.
and the Paradise where we ate.
Okay. Dig in? Go for it. Looks delicious.
Where to start? Ready it is.
These guys aren't open. That Paradise is open, and we had fish tacos yesterday, and I kid you not, they're probably some of the best fish tacos I've ever eaten. And you wouldn't expect it from a little beach place like this, but they were amazing. We just had some fried conch and it was really good too. You can imagine what this all is like when it's the high season.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a huge bar and restaurant right there.
I think it's a dance floor up there.
I mean, this is, you know, Norman, none of the restaurants were open, and there was only 2 places there anyway. And, you know, the other places we've been, there's been next to nothing. So there's a lot of stuff here. A lot of it's not open, but there's more stuff open here than anywhere else. That's what you get for using my beanbag.
It's my beanbag.
See? Karma. Looks good. Not a bad view. We ended up staying 2 nights at Cane Garden. We were going to go to Jost Van Dyke. We've been there before. We liked it, but we decided we just wanted to chill and relax instead of, you know, constantly moving. So we stayed 2 nights, and then we decided to go back to Norman because we really like Norman, and it's very close to Road Town, so we'd have a short distance to go back and turn the boat in the following day. So this is our trip back to Norman Island.
Just rounded the point, quick Dutch Island. And that's St. John on the right hand side.
St. John's U.S., right?
US.
Yeah.
So we're going to be going between the US and the UK.
That's St. John. That way off in the distance is Norman. To the left is Peter Island. And then across the way down there is Road Town. We're going to take the boat back tomorrow. That's Tortola. Road Town Harbor there. And these are scalloped potatoes.
Yeah.
Cooking at Norman. Now look at this backdrop right here. Can you beat that? Right outside your galley. Wow. Well, that's good. Got a comment just yesterday on one of the camping videos, and they're like, you guys really kind of have a food channel. Like, well, maybe. It is what it is. We like to cook well. I'm not gonna make excuses about that. It smells really good. This was from that French deli. Scalloped potatoes. We're back in Norman, and I know it's so cliche, but it's beautiful. And I don't know if it'll capture the color of this water, but it's a turquoise, different hues of turquoise. It is gorgeous. So this is our last night. Spend the night here.
24 hours on this boat.
And then we'll return the boat tomorrow. And despite the fact that Fiona came by and had a little disruption, the weather, after we were able to leave the marina, the weather's been great. It's been partly cloudy every day. You get some rain. Winds have been up. Right now the wind is next to nothing. But wow. And so we're the only, there's a small boat coming in, and there's a small boat over at Willie T's. I don't know if they're working there, but Willie T's has not been open. And that's Willie T's over there. So we've again pretty much got the place to ourselves. Peak season, all these moorings would be taken. Even when we came in July, which was still hurricane season 11 years ago, it was pretty full in July, even though that was hurricane season. But September, the heart of hurricane season, most people stay away. So, got it to ourselves. Here we're taking the first of 3 flights to get back home, but we had a great time in the British Virgin Islands. We only scratched the surface. There's so many places, so many islands to go to, and doing it during hurricane season when nobody else is there, having the bays all to yourself, was a fantastic experience. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.